Hey friend, welcome back to the Holy and Hungry segment of the Vision Driven Health podcast. This midweek episode is a short health devotional for you where you can bring your hunger to the table and be filled with what God has for your health. I think we've all been in a place where we're super excited to try something new, even knowing that it'd be a challenge, only to then realize that it's much less fun than we imagined and much more difficult than we had originally anticipated. That's when the motivation fades and the habits we were trying to implement along with it. I'm all for using motivation to get going, but in today's episode, I'm talking about what it looks like to stay the course regardless of whether you feel like it. We have incredible examples and tangible support from God Himself to live this out. Listen to the end to hear the 3 keys to making this your reality. Do you find yourself struggling to consistently implement healthy habits? Do you lack energy, confidence, and motivation because of stress, overwhelm, and shame for having not gotten it together by now? Friend, there is hope and grace for your health. Hey, I'm Robin Ryan McDonald, host of the Vision Driven Health podcast. I'm a follower of Jesus, a wife, a mama of 2, and a seminarian turned health coach. And I'm so excited that you're here. I found myself in my early 20s captive to cravings and convenience, 20 pounds heavier, super tired, with a face full of acne. I could not figure out how to maintain healthy habits until I discovered the power of aligning my choices with God's vision. 10 years and 2 kids later, by the grace of God, I'm still prioritizing my health and feeling amazing. If you are over quick fixes and are ready to feel good in your own skin, then grab a giant water bottle and let's dive on in. So you want to lose the weight, but you are so overdoing another diet, particularly now that summer is upon us and there are way too many fun barbecues and gatherings to attend. And you actually really just want to approach things from a healthy, holistic standpoint. No more quick fixes, but that also feels really daunting and complicated. Friend, the Healthy Weight Loss Academy is going to show you how to lose weight in a healthy way that is grounded in your worth and value in Jesus, and that is based on a proven system for sustainable health. And it's only 6 weeks. The next cohort is starting soon. Join the waitlist and be the first to find out when enrollment opens to secure your spot at visiondrivenhealth.com/course. That's visiondrivenhealth.com/course, or use the link in the show notes. All right, let's get into today's episode. I imagine if you're like me and most folks, you've experienced a major dip in excitement and motivation in your health journey. Maybe you're in the middle of that right now. I want to take a deeper look at what commitment is and what it looks like to go beyond the initial excitement of starting something new and promising. There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when circumstances permit. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. That is a quote from Art Turlock. I've got a couple more quotes for you here actually to kind of set the stage for today's quick encouragement. Vince Lombardi says, "Most people fail, but not because of lack of desire, but because of lack of commitment." This quote in particular, I think, is so significant when it comes to considering what does it mean to actually stick with something. So many of us have been in the place where we just really, really, really want results. We really want things to work out. If someone were to ask you, would you like to lose X amount of weight by tomorrow? Would you love to have these habits just miraculously become, a part of your lifestyle? We'd say, yes, please, that'd be amazing. The desire is there, but then we lack the commitment of the actual work and effort and time and trial and error that comes into play when you're trying to create something that's going to last. So that's such a good quote. We got another one from David Jeremiah. Integrity is keeping a commitment even after circumstances have changed. Again, that's from David Jeremiah, and that is also really helpful for understanding what true commitment is, because I think, again, when we're excited for something, we're willing to try, put forth the effort, and then something comes up like, oh, well, this wedding came up, or, oh, well, this vacation came up. And so now, or I can't tell you how many times actually I've had, people, sometimes clients too, but, people who are considering doing one of my courses or working with me, and they're like, oh, I'm going to start with you, in 3 months or 5 months because I've got this, this, and this. And they know that circumstances are going to change and look differently. And so they don't even want to start because they're already anticipating that they will not remain committed through those situations. We got another quote here from Andy Andrews. This is a quotey, Holy and Hungry episode. It says, when confronted with a challenge, the committed heart will search for a solution. The undecided heart searches for an escape. Again, there is a difference between wanting something, trying something, seeing if something will work out, and making the decision to be committed. And I love too that this is talking about when you have made that decision and you have made the commitment, if something does come up, if something does get in the way, you look for a solution. You're going to figure it out and still make it work because that is the commitment that you have made. And Deuteronomy 6:5, bringing the Bible into this as we should, says, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your might. That is the calling on our part to be committed to God. I think most of us as believers recognize that we have chosen to take on a commitment, to make a commitment to the Lord by giving him our life. And for most of us, whether we maybe have made the conscious thought or not, have done so because we recognize that God is undeniably committed to us and has demonstrated that through the death and resurrection of Jesus. And I think one of the most powerful aspects of that, if you're familiar with the different covenants that God made with his people and different individuals, one of the ones that I find most, impactful to me, mostly because I heard a great teaching on it, and so that one stands out. But there's a great teaching by a man named Ray Vanderlaan who talks about the Genesis 15 Abrahamic covenant and how God basically made this covenant with Abraham that said, if you don't uphold your end of this deal, then I'm going to die. And if I don't uphold my end of the deal, I'm going to die. It was this, usually it's like, hey, if you don't do your part, you die. If I don't do my part, I die. Kind of like one of those ultimate covenants. But God set it up intentionally in such a way of no matter what, I'm the one who has to give up my life if this doesn't go the way that we're agreeing upon it right now. And essentially, Abraham, man, humanity, we couldn't uphold what God had asked. And Jesus is God and died for us, fulfilling that covenant. When God made the commitment to Abraham, he lived it out. And even too, we see that, he made that commitment to Abraham to multiply his sons and his family, his descendants, like the sands of the grains of sand on the beach. I don't know if he said the beach or not. The grains of sand, the stars in the sky, you know what I mean? And he did. He fulfilled that. And, we even see that there's, in Matthew 5:37 in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. And again, there being something to deciding and being clear on what decision you've made, what you're committed to. And so, to wrap this up today, this is probably a normal length Holy and Hungry compared to the longer ones I've been doing. But I want to provide you with 3 keys to being a person of commitment and not being someone who is waiting for the next wave of motivation to decide that, okay, now I'm going to start trying to make some healthy choices, or now I don't feel like it, and so I'm not. I really want this episode to be an encouragement to you that you have the capacity and ability to be consistent. I think for a lot of us that has felt impossible. I'm sure you've tried numerous times, different diets, different programs, different just efforts on your own accord to, make healthy habits a thing, and you fell off track. But I know from personal experience and from coaching dozens of women that when you make a commitment and you take hold of God's grace, you can absolutely be consistent. It's a total game changer. And so looking at God's covenant and the promises that he's made to his people, the promises that we also get to take hold of and that we are benefiting from, there are 3 elements to a covenant that I want to highlight and that I want to encourage you with in your own health journey. So the first one is, in order for a covenant to occur, there has to be a decision. Inevitably, there is a decision that is made based on these 2 different individuals or different groups of people, or one individual to a group, God to the Israelites, whatever it is. There's a decision made. I am going to do this for you. You are going to do this for me. This is our mutual agreement. It's a decision. So when you are, looking at creating a healthy lifestyle for yourself, like I said, one of those other quotes, that the desire is there, the decision has to follow in order for, this to really come to fruition. And so my encouragement first and foremost for you is to decide today. You can decide right now while you're listening to this. I am going to be committed. I'm going to be committed to the vision that God has placed on my life. I'm going to take hold of the truth that my life matters, that energy and vitality enables me to show up more powerfully, more lovingly to the people around me. And so, I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to get to the gym or I'm going to start taking a 15-minute walk. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you can make a decision to implement even just one healthy habit that you have been meaning to start today. You can start it today. Make the decision. The second thing that creates a covenant is that there is a commitment. It's one thing to decide, and you could decide to commit, but it's another to commit, right? So you can say I've decided I'm going to start walking every single day. Well, you find out whether or not you're committed and if you've actually truly made a commitment when it's raining outside, or when you're super tired at the end of the day and you didn't get your walk in and it's 9 p.m., 10 p.m. You get to really find out whether or not you have made a commitment. And that is, again, those quotes that I opened up with that I encourage you to look and consider for yourself when, maybe you made a meal plan. Maybe you set the days that you were going to go to the gym. Maybe you decided how many times throughout the week you were going to cook, and something comes up, something that you had that was completely outside of your control. And you feel like that's a free pass to just kind of I'm going to start again later. Oh man, this is what always happens. It never works out. When if you're committed, you can say, all right, that was one day, that was unexpected. How can I adjust? How can I keep going? How can I remain committed to what I've established for myself? And number 3 is a covenant has a fulfillment. There is the decision to do it, the commitment to it, and then the fulfillment of that covenant. And we see that the Lord has been faithful with every single covenant. And we are in the new covenant now. We are believing and knowing based on God's track record, he is faithful. There will be a fulfillment, and we can see evidence of that fulfillment occurring. And so when you have made that decision, you have decided to commit, you do it, you stay committed until it's fulfilled. And so if your goal, your commitment to yourself is that you want to lose a certain amount of weight, you want to improve your blood work numbers to a certain extent, you want to establish certain healthy habits and be able to know for sure that they're established because certain months or years have gone by, you get to do so until you see the fulfillment of that process. Friend, I hope that this has been encouraging and inspiring and helpful for you. Again, we're talking about what it means to be committed. Motivation is fleeting. When we commit and take hold of God's grace, you can make that decision, you can be committed, and you can see the fulfillment of that today. Friend, I bless you with God's grace, with bravery and courage to make a commitment to something that maybe feels outside of what's possible for you, or maybe outside of what you think you can actually be consistent with. I bless you with the ability to rely and depend on God in a new way, to invite him into an area of your life that maybe you haven't invited him before. So friend, take hold of that, be blessed, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Vision Driven Health Podcast today. I hope this episode inspired you, supported you, and blessed you in some way. If it did, it would mean the world if you would leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts and share this episode on your social media. The more reviews and shares this gets, the more people can be blessed and encouraged in creating a Jesus-centered, sustainable, healthy lifestyle. If you want to hang with me and other Jesus-loving ladies who are creating healthy habits that last, be sure to join my free Facebook group, the Made Well Mastermind. Use the link in the show notes to join. Be blessed with hope, joy, and health. I'll see you next week.